everyone, it's Diego here and welcome to today's movie review. So last week on Saturday I went and watched Bohemian Rhapsody, which has come out for a couple of weeks now, and before I went I did a little research just to see what the reviews were like for the movie, and as I kind of expected, the reviews were very mixed, and I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail later. But to give you a little bit of background, Bohemian Rhapsody is a biopic about Queen, the band Queen. If you don't know who they are, go do some research, go watch this movie. It's a great starting point into introducing their music to you. You've probably even heard their music, you just didn't know it was them. Okay, so I'm going to go through the characters now and the actors or actresses that have played them, and then I'll talk about the storyline afterwards. So my laptop is down here. Rami Malek plays Freddie Mercury. Lucy Boynton plays Mary Austin. This word is deceiving, but I feel like it's just William Lee. I'll put it up on the screen, let me know what you think. Plays Brian May. Ben Hardy plays Roger Taylor. Joseph Mazzello plays John Deacon. Aidan Gillen plays John Reed. Alan Leach plays Paul Prenter. Tom Hollander plays Jim Beach. Mike Myers plays Ray Foster. Aaron McCusker plays Jim Hutton. Monica Das plays Jer Bulsara. Ace Barty plays Bomi Bulsara. Priya Blackburn plays Kashmira Bulsara. Dermot Murphy plays Bob Geldof. Ducky Bowe plays Kenny Everett. There are more people in the cast, they're just the main ones on the list. So essentially the storyline follows the life of Freddie Mercury and how he became the singer that he became. There is a focus on Freddie Mercury in this movie, so if you were coming into this hoping that it would be some kind of biopic about the other band members, there is a chance that you may not enjoy this movie as much, but that's purely because they put a focus on Freddie Mercury and kind of telling the untold story of his life, sharing a little bit more about what went on behind the scenes of Queen and, you know, the different events they had in their life, and then eventually Live Aid and, you know, finding out about the disease he had and so on and so on. So there is definitely a very heavy focus on Freddie Mercury. He is the lead character in the film, goes through his life meeting Mary Austin, and then, you know, all of the events that unfolded with Queen, the arguments they had, the inspiration they had for writing songs. Sorry, my voice is gone. I think that's why the reviews were mixed, is because some people went in hoping it would be like a Brian May or a Roger Taylor kind of biopic where you focus on the other band members as well, but obviously because Freddie Mercury was the lead singer and you know, he's no longer with us, they put a focus on that to kind of celebrate his life through this movie. So I think the reviews are mixed because people went in expecting something different and they ended up getting something like this, which for me, I went in with very low expectations because I know about Queen's music and I did grow up listening to a lot of it, but I don't know a lot about Queen as a band themselves. Obviously, if they make a biopic about One Direction one day, I'm going to be all over that, and then maybe I'll be more upset at the way they film that. We'll see what happens. But as of Saturday when I went in, I didn't know a lot about Queen as a band. I also didn't know a lot about Freddie Mercury himself. I actually tried to do a little bit of research before going in to watch the movie, and I stumbled across a part of a documentary, which, funny enough, I watched the video Saturday like lunchtime-ish. I came home and then Saturday night on TV they were airing a Queen documentary. So they had already made a documentary about Queen, about the entire band. It was in like 2 parts, and the video I had watched that morning as research was the last 10 minutes or so of that documentary, where they talked about Freddie Mercury and how, you know, the physical effect that this disease was having on him. Even though he was making music right until the end, you could see the effect that it had on him. The biggest highlight for me in this film was definitely the Live Aid performance. I remember because I went to watch this video with Georgia and my boyfriend as well. Georgia had said to me when it was happening, she's like, if I could go back to any concert in time, I would want to go back to Live Aid. And I 100% agree with her. To be part of the audience that day would have been so amazing. And that scene, the way they recreated, the way they reenacted it, I watched some interviews with Rami Malek. So I found out that they had actually recreated Wembley Stadium, because obviously the stadium does not look the same anymore. They recreated the 80s version of it, and they brought in Queen fans to be part of the audience, and that plane is so annoying. Why? that performance was a real performance, and they did that the first day of shooting, which I think made me appreciate the movie just so much more, because it was just so great to see a performance like that. And I remember there were parts in the film where even my boyfriend was getting goosebumps, and he was never a Queen fan and knew of one or two of the songs but didn't know that the other ones were also written by them, and so he is now listening to a lot of Queen music, and for good reason, because the music is great. Another highlight I had was actually the scenes where they were creating Bohemian Rhapsody, and the whole process of, you know, Freddie Mercury kind of finding this inspiration within himself to create this song, and then having all of the comedic scenes where they're trying to hit the high notes in Galileo and all of that. That was a really great scene as well, so that was probably one of my favorites. My overall review of this movie is I did really enjoy it. I can see why people didn't enjoy it though. As someone who was not a huge Queen fan, but was more of a fan of their music, I really enjoyed it because you get to find out a little bit more about the personal life. Whether or not it's historically accurate, I'm not quite sure, and I'm not really the person to decide that, but as someone who is a Queen fan of their music, coming in to watch this movie, I really enjoyed it. The characters were great, the actors were amazing. Rami Malek was freaking amazing. I remember him in Night in the Museum too, and I remember that meme that went around where they were like, oh my god, there's a white man playing an Egyptian, and then another comment's like, are you freaking kidding me, that's Rami Malek, he is Egyptian. Like, I have been a fan of Rami Malek ever since then. So yeah, characters were great, storyline was great, historical accuracy, I don't know. I'm sure someone who might be a Queen fan can comment down below whether or not it was historically accurate. And then you have to keep in mind that a movie cannot cover everything, but it was a great movie to watch. I 100% recommend it for you. If you don't know who Queen is, you've got no idea who I'm talking about, and you just clicked on this because you're like, oh, Bohemian Rhapsody sounds like a cool thing, go listen to the song, go watch the movies. The important thing for me that I took out of this is the legacy that Queen has left. Decades on, my boyfriend is now listening to Queen, and he's found a favourite song. The music that Queen created back then was so revolutionary for the time, but the reason why was because it carries on through generations. And so even now watching this movie, I remember back when I was younger listening to like We Are the Champions and stuff, like all of these different songs that to me felt like they'd been created when I was born, but they'd been created decades and decades before. And I think that's the legacy that Queen has left. And I think if you don't take anything else from the movie, you should be taking that, you know, they were a legendary rock band and have created songs that we are probably going to be listening to for decades on, purely because of the relevance they have to us now. Even still, in the 21st century, I'm sure people can find relevance to it. That's the legacy that it leaves. That's the celebration of life they were trying to portray. The movie was great. I loved it. I don't know what else to say about it. So that is the end of my movie review. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. The next time I watch a movie, I will be sitting down and doing another review, although I don't know what movie it will be, but you'll definitely be the first to find out my thoughts. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!